About time I made another video, and this time it's a bit different. Today I'm leaving the cozy safety of my apartment to venture into the chilly Seattle winter rain. Just about 10 minutes away in the industrial district of SoDo, down the street from a collection of weed shops and Starbucks corporate, exists a unique museum in an unassuming building, the Living Computer Museum. This place was established by Paul Allen, co-founder of Microsoft, and houses just an awesome collection of computers from the 60s to today. Now, while I work with computers all day, every day, and I've been interested in them all my life, I'm not someone who's particularly well versed in everything computer history, unlike some YouTubers. So I wasn't always sure what I was looking at walking through this museum. Even so, I was totally a kid in a candy store in this place. It seems to have everything. Ancient teletype machines, computers that operated on punch cards, machines that sorted punch cards. Yeah, can you imagine? By the way, you can even walk away with a souvenir punch card if you want, or you could pick out a little craft project to make out of them. A little weird, but I can get behind this. Here's an IBM computer that I'm pretty sure operated the Death Star's laser. There's also plenty of documentary videos playing on screens all around the museum, as well as plaques and timeline displays. Now, I love stuff like this. You can see how far we've come in a pretty small display that just compares storage media over the years. This basketball-sized disk is 200 megabytes. Or look at memory throughout the years. They've even built a cold room. This is the kind of place you might have seen in the 60s or 70s that would house computers, mainframes, and supercomputers. It's a straight legit, man. The key thing that makes this museum really cool, though, is that these machines aren't just dead artifacts collecting dust in some history museum. Instead, they've been restored, and most of them are powered on. They really do have to keep this room cold. What's more is that they actually let you play around with a lot of these. I've never even seen Windows 1.0. Huh, Paint was a thing even back then. There's a great collection of 70s, 80s, and early 90s personal computers as well. The epic names like Commodore, Tandy, Apple, but there's plenty of others that I hadn't even heard of, much less seen in person, and especially not turned on and actually running software. The IBM. That's not very catchy, is it? There's also a little library corner of the museum that has technical manuals and, yes, even big box PC games. Not that many, but still sweet. A big part of the driver of computer history has been games, and while the museum doesn't particularly emphasize them, it does represent them pretty well, and you can play a fair number of them on old hardware. Hey, Oregon Trail! Dude, SimCity! That Starfield, though. The museum obviously skews Microsoft, but it of course doesn't ignore other contributions to the industry, including Apple. Now, I start to get really excited as you wrap around and approach the more modern segment of the museum, even though it does get really Microsofty. Dude, I remember playing with the Sidewinder in the 90s. I'd love to see this VR exhibit expand. It definitely could, and it should given the current VR climate. Hey, wait a second. Recognize this? If you don't, you need to watch more of my videos. The Virtual I/O eyeglasses. Flight Unlimited was compatible with these things back in the day.
After years of hype and promise, virtual reality has finally made it to the mainstream. Virtual eyeglasses bring a real-life feel to gaming. This is accomplished using stereoscopic 3D displays and a head-tracking device that lets users look up, down, around, and even behind themselves. Consumers are able to explore virtual reality environments without leaving the comforts of the home or office.
What's up? According to the display, $500 to $700 would get you standard def in each eye back in 1995. Now, when you put it like that, a $600 price tag for the Oculus doesn't sound too bad. It's kind of surreal to be looking at relatively recent hardware in a display case like this, but yeah, 2007. The iPhone is officially a relic in electronics terms. The museum culminates in Microsoft Surface Pros and an Xbox One with Kinect. Buy today at Xbox.com. But seriously, this is an awesome museum, and the world really needs more of these things. It's only $6 to get in, and at least for me, it included a $5 off coupon to the EMP Museum and free admission to the Flying Heritage Museum, which I could definitely see myself going to. I don't know what the plans are for this place, but I can totally see it expanding further. I mean, I'd want to see more VR tech, like going back into the 80s even. Maybe an exhibit on how like computer components are actually made, the process from, copper mine to Best Buy shelf. But above all, I can see a whole new floor just dedicated to games. I mean, gaming has pushed the development of computers so much, especially in terms of graphics, and especially over the last 20 or 30 years. For instance, they have a Next system in their little classroom theater space that you can actually mess around with. I mean, the Next, man, it's the Cube, man. This thing is epic to me, but in the context of gaming history. It conjures images of John Carmack trudging through the Wisconsin snow to buy this for id. And then, of course, going on to design a couple of little games like Wolfenstein 3D and Doom with it. Anyway, if you're into this stuff and you're ever in Seattle, I highly recommend checking out the Living Computer Museum. It's just freaking sweet. And thank you for watching Dome Candy Games, because video games are like candy for your dome.